So good evening, everyone. Hi to everyone that's listening live. Hello to everyone that we're broadcasting live to, and also anyone that's on record again. So this evening is the Precious Metals for Beginners presentation. So today is Monday, the 16th of November. So everything that I'm talking about is correct as of the time we are broadcasting. So I'll just share my screen, which is this one here. Sorry, 1 second. This one here. I press that button there. So for my live attendees, would you mind just giving me a thumbs up if you can see some slides? Oh, great. Thanks, Janine. Much appreciated. So quick disclaimer, this evening's presentation is not investment advice, financial advice, or trading advice. Rather, it's education, inspiration, information around precious metals and what DAXI does. So a quick welcome. If you haven't heard of DAXI before, we are a digital asset exchange. So one of the places you can buy digital assets online, whether you've currently got British pounds or any other currency that we accept, you can use that to partake in our wealth platform, which has a variety of opportunities, one of which is precious metals, which I'll be talking about this evening. So this presentation will probably be 15, 20 minutes long, something like that. I want to talk about precious metals. It's a very popular asset class right now, particularly in a substantial downturn, which of course we are right in the middle of our COVID recession. So I'll talk about why precious metals have been popular for wealth preservation, what to avoid, and how you can get involved. So I just want to give you an idea of some of the publications that you will see DAXI in. So it's a selection of some of the press that I have written so far this year. So I've been in about 30 publications this year so far. So I talk a lot about wealth creation. I talk about the economy. I talk about where the marketplace is going. And I talk a lot about retail investors. So generally how normal people are trying to manage their finances and build wealth in obviously what is quite trying times. So if you follow DAXI on social media, or if you take a look at our website, you'll see lots and lots of press when we're talking about what's going on. So obviously some very bizarre times right now. The COVID recession has been dreadful. We saw about 30% come off our FTSE 100 in the UK. Obviously that's a story which is mirrored across most of the major economies. And actually, although some of that has leveled out, obviously still some very tough times. And of course, the FTSE 100 is a great health check for the UK economy. Of course, our top 100 traded companies and many of our pensions and savings products are based on it. And it's estimated that around $9 trillion worth of value has been wiped off the stock markets by coronavirus. And I think there's a lot of stuff in the press right now about how we're unlikely to go back to our previous way of life. And really, we're all just trying to navigate that new normal. It's also interesting to see Rishi Sunak talk a lot more about how we're going to pay the coronavirus bill. I appreciate that the near-term objective is getting us out of it, but there's certainly lots coming up in the press about taxation increases, whether it's income tax and also capital gains tax matching income tax. So really lots of pain expected for middle classes and of course the wealthier members of our society. So of course, lots of people are quite distressed about interest rates. So if you're not aware, the current Bank of England base rate, so they of course set our interest rates, our central bank, is at 0.1%, which is the lowest ever base rate on records. They've been around a couple of hundred years and never have had to make our base rate as low as it is, which of course really affects people that have cash in the bank that are hopefully looking to get a good return on it. So this is just some data that I took a couple of days ago from a website called money.co.uk, which is a comparison website for various different financial products. So I was looking at the savings rate that you could get on instant access cash accounts, and the answer was sort of 1% or thereabouts. So obviously not great for people that are, hoping to either grow their cash or of course are reliant on that interest to live off. So for that reason, as you can imagine, lots of people are looking for various asset classes that will assist them in doing that. So obviously DAXI is a predominantly crypto-based business. We're very focused on that. I'll mention that a few times this evening, but really want to focus on the precious metals for wealth preservation. So at DAXI, we have lots of people that purchase crypto. That's more about wealth creation and focusing on capital growth. We also have lots of people that are interested in precious metals, and that's more focused on preserving their wealth throughout the downturn. So I just want to give you an idea of some of that performance so far to date. So this is the graph for gold. So this is gold in our lovely British pounds. So as you can see, that is a pretty attractive graph. So obviously, when we've seen the stock market take a 30% hit, and then we've seen it recover a little bit, lots of people that have had some serious challenges, of course, over the coronavirus period. You can pick up some of this data from a website called Billion Vault. So if you Google that, you can see obviously some phenomenal growth for gold. And gold is often seen as what's called a safe haven asset. So when things get tough, people tend to flock to gold. Of course, it has a limited supply, which obviously is very helpful being anti-inflationary. And you'll often see that called either a safe haven or a flight to quality. So when things are getting a little bit troublesome, people would tend to go for gold and silver. So very similar graph for silver. I appreciate it's a bit odd, this came from the gold.co.uk website, but you'll see again some really phenomenal growth. So what's really interesting about this graph, you look at the axis along the bottom from left to right, of course, is time. So you can see just as coronavirus hits in the middle of March in the UK, silver did, of course, take a hit in terms of value, but then, of course, you'll see it having a phenomenal growth curve since then. So gold and silver particularly have done phenomenally well since COVID hit, and particularly outperforming other asset classes. So there's a lot of talk about hedging against inflation or trying to find something which is outside all the other assets which are experiencing pain. And obviously gold and silver have done very well. So I just want to talk to you about some of those market beating assets to give you a real sense of how that pans out. So we're very focused on crypto, so hence why crypto is included in that graph. So I just want to make the comparison between the FTSE 100 losing 30% during COVID, kind of recovering a little bit now. We've got some news coming out about potentially successful vaccines that we might be seeing released in the short and the medium term. So the FTSE 100 year to date so far is down 15%. If you contrast that with gold and silver, which are up 23% and 36% respectively, and as you can see, it's really the crypto that has pulled away. So Ethereum specifically being 253% up today, Bitcoin being 127%, the DAC, which is our community coin, being up 58%, and Litecoin being up 42%. So if you're listening to this presentation, I would assume that you are interested in some of those asset classes, but really just seeing it visually does hammer home just really how market beating some of those assets have been. So I want to talk about some of the issues that you will find if you're looking to invest in precious metals. Most of the people that interact with the DAXI platform, we have a starting entry level for £100 for crypto and £200 for precious metals. But most of the people using the DAXI platform typically are using a couple of £1,000. That's sort of our average client right now. So there's some real challenges for precious metals if you're looking to acquire a relatively small amount of physical metal. There's some real problems with buying and selling. You need to find a reputable source to do that. Transportation, you probably don't necessarily want a couple of £1,000 worth of gold and silver turning up through the post. If you're anything like me, the Royal Mail is far from reliable where I live. And of course, the issue of storing. So you either need to store it in your house somewhere securely, which is a bit nerve-wracking, or of course you pay for professional storage. So all of those things are a little bit challenging in terms of buying physical metals. So DAXI has worked on an innovative product, which is a tokenized version. So we're able to provide a digital version of those metals, which mitigates those problems for reasons that I will describe. So the most popular version of this we have is what's called our precious metals bundle. So DAXI, of course, is a fintech platform. So you're able to participate in the platform and purchase, of course, in your either your own name or in a company name, if you prefer to do it that way. And the precious metals bundle is split between 60% gold, 15% silver, 5% platinum, and 20% in our community coin, which is what we call the Wealth Builder coin. That's performed, as you've seen, very well this year so far. And we also give a 10% bonus just as a bit of a sales incentive. So the reason for the split between gold, silver, and platinum is we feel that that is a great bit of diversification, which of course risk-wise is great. And whilst gold and silver have outperformed platinum so far this year to date, there's a lot of market analysis around the potential for that particular asset. So particularly like our crypto bundle, which is spread between a number of crypto coins, just provides obviously some diversification, which is great. So sorry, I probably said the word diversification enough, but that's kind of our title. The tokenized version is much simpler than purchasing the physical asset. So the token is issued to reflect the gold, silver, and platinum that Daxi has purchased on its customers' behalf. We use the Perth Mint, which unfortunately for a British audience is not very well known, but of course is government backed, is one of the world's biggest refiners. And that means that the government is guaranteeing the storage of those metals. So those metals never physically come into Daxi, either physically or in terms of a custody perspective, because the physical metal is held by a custodial company, which is totally separate from Daxi's operating funds and what have you. So it means that the way the metal is not only stored away from us, but it provides some real security for our customers. And we have that regularly audited, so we can show that those tokens have only been issued once that physical metal is purchased. So really just a very low stress, low maintenance way of purchasing precious metals. So for those of you that might be new to the idea of tokenized assets, I just want to talk just for probably 60 seconds about how that technology works. So obviously there's a lot of tokenization in the marketplace, whether it's stocks and shares or ETFs. So blockchain really is the next evolution of that idea. So blockchain is not a new technology by any stretch of the imagination. Blockchain obviously is the starting point for crypto. It's also used across a huge number of industries, whether it's health tech, agriculture, supply chain. There's a huge number of applications, but you'll see blockchain coming up time and time again, particularly in banking and finance and payments. And the reason for that is a new type of database, which is more user-friendly in terms of tokenizing assets. So for that reason, you'll see a lot of big banks and financial institutions using crypto and using blockchain and talking very animatedly about it. So the idea of tokenization and using blockchain is it's a cheaper, faster, and easier way to move value. So you'll see a number of people on this slide who are already involved. So BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager. They have blockchain projects. Citi and JP Morgan, of course, are tier 1 banks. DTCC is the highest value financial processor in the world. They mostly deal with securities. It's what they're famous for. And again, they have blockchain projects. So you'll often see a lot of these financial institutions, and it'll be my last slide of this presentation, talking about how tokenization is a cheaper, quicker, and more efficient way of having financial products. So a quick introduction to Daxi to those of you that might be listening to this recording that haven't heard of Daxi. So we're a digital asset exchange. So we are one of the ways that you can purchase crypto and also precious metals. You can buy and hold via our exchange. And we're very focused on the retail audience. So unlike many businesses in our sector, we're not intended for traders. Some people use our platform for trading, but the vast majority are people who are looking to hold for the short or the medium term. And our main focus is on that wealth community, the people that are looking to create wealth through their investments. So we're licensed in Europe and we have UK offices in central Oxford, and we have plans to list on the London Stock Exchange next year. And we also are very proud of our ethos towards our community. So we have a big stress on education, so presentations and various other things that we put on like this presentation. And we also believe we've got the largest client services team per user of any crypto exchange, which is something we're really, really proud of. So in terms of security, it's really key for people that hold their assets online, that they look into the security of that platform. A really good way of doing that is the Mozilla Observatory, which is an independent view of any website in the world and how secure it is. So you can see from this one that our website rates at the highest category, which is A+. It's free to use. You can go and check it anytime that you like. So for all our customers that are using our platform, store either their crypto or their precious metals, need to know that we have been responsible from a cybersecurity point of view. And it's quite eye-watering when you start putting in the high street banking apps. Often they have ratings anywhere between a B and an F, which is quite shocking. So the buying process is super simple. You can set up your account online. Of course, in the UK right now, we're on lockdown. So for people that want to just stay at home, and that's fine, you can do that completely from the privacy of your own living room. So we do require what's called KYC. That stands for Know Your Customer. So it's an FCA requirement that we have proof of ID and proof of address for all customers. Again, that's done via the app. You fund your account and then you can sit back and enjoy. It looks very much like an online banking app. You'll often see, particularly with a lot of the crypto exchanges, they're super user friendly. And obviously ours particularly was designed from scratch by our team in-house. So next steps, obviously engage with learning. We've got loads of resources available through Daxi, so you can find those online for free. We have webinars, we have a lot of ebooks. We've got a huge amount of resources through our social media channels, so do take advantage of those. We hold a lot of regular online events. If someone sent you this event, do look at our website, events.daxi.com. Again, we'll see lots more various sessions that you'll be able to attend, or of course, talk to the person that introduced you, who'll be able to send you in the right direction. So I'm really hoping this last slide will work. So I was very interested to find a link to the BBC News online. I found it on LinkedIn, and it came courtesy of the Chancellor of the Exchequer. So he was talking about where he sees the marketplace going. So I'm just going to try and share this, and I'm really sorry I couldn't quite get it to work within my PowerPoint. So the reason why I wanted to make this part of the presentation I'm showing this evening is that the best way to look at tokenization is that it is the logical evolution of our financial services. So I think it's very easy for people to think, oh, crypto's scary, I don't understand it, I don't want to get involved. But it's my opinion, and many other people like me that commentate for the press, that crypto and products like it are the inevitable conclusion of our financial services and banking community. So I want to share this with you. It's from the 9th of November, so it's only sort of, what's that, 8 days old, week or so old. And it's the Chancellor of the Exchequer addressing the Houses of Parliament about what's happening in fintech. So it's only a minute long, but it does talk about how essentially we're in some very challenging times. And one of the things that will get us out of that is some of these technologies. So I've just pressed play, hopefully it will work.
Part of our new financial chapter for financial services will use technology to deliver better outcomes for consumers and businesses. So we are building on our existing strengths as a leading global destination to start, grow and invest in fintech. And I look forward to welcoming Ron Khalifa's report in this important area. We're staying at the cutting edge of payments technologies, where we've just concluded the first stage of our payment landscapes review and will shortly publish new plans to support the sector. And by making sure our regulatory environment is ready to manage the far-reaching implications of technology on money itself. We'll publish a consultation shortly to make new forms of privately issued currencies, known as stablecoins, meet the same high standards we expect of other payment methods. And the Bank of England and the Treasury are considering further if central banks can issue their own digital currencies as a complement to cash. Finally, Mr. Speaker, this new chapter means putting the...
So, apologies for ending on someone talking in the Houses of Parliament. I'm sure it's a bit late in the UK for us to be having to deal with that so late in the day. But I just think it's a really interesting viewpoint of where our economy needs to go to deal with the current challenges. So I hope you enjoyed this evening's presentation. I'm going to stop recording so I can address my live audience. So hopefully you enjoyed it and see you online soon.